Good morning, and thank you all for joining us for our March 7th Lunch and Learn. I'm Carol Battle, and I manage the statewide wellness program through the Office of State Human Resources. We're thrilled that you have joined us today. Self-care is such an important part of both the mental and physical health. In today's world, we all seem to come across tough situations more than ever. And we're going to learn about some practical daily routines and useful tools that can assist us with coping and managing these situations when they arise. We're pleased to welcome Zana Balam from Aspire Integrated Wellness. Aspire's an integrated practice providing nutrition and mental health counseling. Zana's a provisional licensed clinical social worker with a BS in psychology and a master's degree in social work. She has a passion for maximizing the healing experience for all clients, and she utilizes cognitive behavior therapy, cognitive processing therapy, and emotional focus therapy approaches. Today, Zana will share ideas and techniques to cope in stressful situations to promote optimal restoration and support of our nervous system recovery. Our goal today is that we will also learn helpful tips for regaining balance and preventing burnout by understanding more about taking care of ourselves. Hence the title of today's presentation, Self-Care 911. As a reminder, everyone who registered for this event will receive a recording of today's presentation and a link to our webpage where we house all past webinars, handouts, and our invitations to upcoming events. So be sure to check that out. We're pleased to also welcome Sorella Purnell and Kaylee Patrick from Aspire Nutrition, and of course our wellness team from NC Flex, Kara Rouse, and Linda Forsberg. During the presentation, please use the chat box if you have any questions, and we will answer them as we can. And then we have also saved a few minutes at the end of the event to conquer any of those questions that we aren't able to get to during the presentation. So let's get started by welcoming Zana.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on today. It is a pleasure to begin presenting on Self-Care 911. As a clinician, it's really important that we discuss this topic of self-care. We all work, we all have responsibilities, but not all of us recall how important it is to take care of ourselves. So it is a pleasure to go ahead and begin. And the objectives for today, we're just going to explore what Self-Care 911 really is. Learn how the stress and the nervous system work together, how to handle extreme stress with self-care, and practice a few self-care techniques. So, big question, what is Self-Care 911? Thank you for asking. So as you see on the screen, it is a set of emergency self-care strategies that can be used when a person is feeling overwhelmed or in a crisis. And by a crisis, well, we feel our homeostasis, our balance is just a little off. And it's designed to provide immediate relief, provide a sense of balance and stability, mentally, emotional, physical stability. That's really important. And the goal is to provide also effective ways to manage intense emotions, to regain that sense of control, and to focus on your well-being. And why is it so important? Once again, it manages stress and it regulates your emotions. I tell all of my clients, and I'll also share with you guys, you are in control of your emotions. Your emotions are not in control of you. To my understanding, I am Zana. I am not anger. I am not anxiety. I am not stress. I am not depression. So along with the self-care, we regain control of our emotions. It's really simple, and along the way, it'll help you feel grounded, in control, centered, as well as calm. And in doing so, we have the ability, the authority, and even the liberty to develop resiliency and this regulation that I continue to speak on, which is emotional. Also, it improves your overall well-being. holistically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, down to the nutrition of your body. The self-care is really important, and we're going to explore how it'll do so, and even how to reduce burnout. We all work, and the responsibilities are high and the expectations are high at times. So we are going to learn these self-care techniques and how to really enforce them and make them applicable to our lives. So, stress on the mind and body. Effects, again, on mental health, physical health, your cardiovascular health, sleep, eating habits, substance abuse, relationships. It is all impacted. Self-care does not only limit itself to emotions, but this list that you see before you now. Mentally, the stress can affect your memory, concentrations, and decision-making abilities. I'm not sure if you guys are able to recall at this moment, but how many of you have experienced mental health and stress and anxiety, and when it seems like your brain just won't shut down, and we can't focus, we can't concentrate, and we just lose track of everything because of the stress? And so you're not alone. It's really common. It's really common. And the physical health, yes, we experience headaches, muscle tension, fatigue, digestive problems where we're not able to hold down food, or in some individuals, we feel the pressure in our shoulders, in our chest, in our feet, all over. And it's really, really important to analyze, the cost of this stress. Is it worth losing sleep? Is it worth being sore? Is it worth having headaches and migraines that seem like Tylenol just won't fix? And cardiovascular health, yes, your blood pressure can go through the roof. And it seems to be a cliche statement. Oh my gosh, they made my blood pressure go up. Oh, that's going to give me a heart attack. Without really realizing that is very much a possibility, and it is realistic. It is realistic. And the sleep deprivation and disturbance in your sleep patterns, yes, is very, very impactful. It's very impactful. Whenever we are stressed, we toss and turn all night long. We can't seem to get comfortable. We can't seem to find peace. This stress does, in fact, affect your sleep. Eating habits. Emotional eating is very much a real thing. In some cases, we may find that we don't eat. There's a lot of weight gain and or weight loss depending on the individual and their body system, how their body responds to stress. And of course, that is uniquely tailored towards everybody. No one body is exactly the same as another. So your eating habits can be impacted. Substance use, a lot of people utilize substances to numb the pain, to distract them, or to even escape for a period of time. And in doing so, the use of substances can increase. It can increase in the relationships, the impact on marriages, relationships, being with friends, family members, even co-workers. We begin to see the true impact of it. All right, so we have a couple of different forms here. Hyperarousal, what does that mean? All right, it's an overactive and unclear thought where we're always on the go. As you can see here, it's when we can't calm down. And the window of tolerance, your body can only tolerate so much. And there's hypoarousal, which of course is the direct opposite of hyperarousal, where we utilize mindfulness, we breathe, and we feel more grounded. And on the other side, shutting down, that's when we feel depressed, lethargic, numb, unmotivated. We want to be left alone. And as you see on the screen, there is both a positive and negative side of the hyperarousal and hypoarousal, and all of how it fits in with the middle of being the window of tolerance. And along with the nervous system, it responds to stress. And it is a evidence-based theory. We have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, two main important parts. And in the sympathetic nervous system, we have our fight or flight, also freeze. And I'm sure that some of you have heard of that before, but just to go into a little bit more detail, fight, flight, and freeze. So the fight is that's exactly when we have to protect ourselves. Ah, it's the monster, it's the lion running after me. I have to do something. I have to fight it back. Or we can fly. There's a monster running after me. I have to escape. I have to go somewhere. I have to get out of here. And freeze. Oh, I don't know what to do. I feel stuck. What do I do here? Ah. So with this sympathetic system, nervous system, we have and we experience the fight, flight, and or freeze, which is also very essential to the cycle of stress. A lot of times we tend to block out things, we block out emotions, suppress them, bottle them up, and really pretend like they're not there. However, according to your nervous system and your emotional, holistic health and well-being, it's important and it's very, very normal to complete this cycle of stress. Along with the parasympathetic nervous system, promoting relaxation and restoring your balance in your body, this is important. Self-care techniques, they can in fact stimulate your vagus nervous system, your nerves. Mindfulness, deep breathing, humming, meditation, yoga, these are all different techniques to practice mindfulness. And mindfulness, when we become in sync with our body, we become aware of what's going on in our bodies. Physical touch, hugging, holding, tapping, affection, feeling some type of comfort, that also impacts us. And just something to think about, if anybody has ever given you a hug and you just felt so relaxed, you felt comforted, you felt protected in that moment. Physical touch, yes, definitely helps. Definitely helps. And the vagus nerve, what is that? Well, it's a part of the parasympathetic nervous system, one of the largest nerves in the human body. It regulates your response to stress, which goes back to the fight, flight, and or freeze responses in that cycle of stress. It also regulates your heart rate and your breathing. So whenever we experience increased or rapid heart rate beats, this is the nerve that controls it. Whenever we feel like there's a shortness of breath, this is the nerve that controls it. And in also a positive way, it promotes feeling calm and relaxed. Calm and relaxed. As of now, Miss Carol, do I have any questions?
Actually, there is just one. When you were talking about substance abuse, we had one person who asked that that is so important for yourself, but how do you get people that you love and care about to also understand this?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. How we get other people to understand and realize what we can do is provide knowledge and education, what we would call psychoeducation, to our family members and loved ones. However, it's important to realize and really accept that they have a right to self-determination. We unfortunately cannot make people change their habits and or coping skills. We unfortunately cannot really determine how they respond to things. So along with the psychoeducation, providing them with the knowledge of the substance abuse, we can also lead by example. What that means, how you demonstrate yourself, how you influence them to become more knowledgeable of the impact of substance abuse. Also, it's important that we really consider their situation, what has happened to them, and how and why it's so impactful, what substance they're utilizing to escape from whatever that situation is, and how often it does. And a lot of times, we never really get a chance to ask friends, families, and loved ones how that substance is really helping them. We only see the negative side of this is hurting their bodies and this is hurting them. It's going to damage their career. We see that part, which is very real. But how often do we consider the emotional side and how they believe it's helping them, if that makes any sense? And I hope that answered your question.
Yes, that was great. We had one other question from someone who's a widow who was just wondering what would help with touch when you live alone.
Touch whenever you live alone. Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, touch whenever you live alone. Definitely at times we can just hug ourselves. We can rub ourselves to feel the stimulation, to know that you're still here. You're not frozen. You're not a robot. There's still something. So if everybody could do it with me on the count of three, I'd like for you all just to hold yourself, to rub your arms together. So on the count of three, we're all going to do it together. One, two, three. Explore yourself, explore your body. Know, recognizing yourself that we are still here, we are still present, we are still one. And by doing that, you can notice a difference afterwards. There's still a sense of stimulation there. Also, another thing that may help with the widower or anyone else who unfortunately experiences such things, doing your hair, looking in the mirror, putting on earrings, you touching yourself, it provides a sense of stimulation. And even for the men, whenever you're in the mirror brushing your hair or some type of self grooming, there is still a sense of stimulation. We are here, we are in sync with ourselves, and we are still one. I hope.
Okay, great. And while we're on this one slide, where is the vagus nerve on the diagram?
Yeah, okay. So where you see it at here, towards the back of the brain, and it goes down the spine, and you see it in front of this the character's face as it's going down the yellow nerve that's going down, which is how it regulates your breathing, your heart rate. It goes on, and as you see, it also connects towards your eye and your breathing, your nostrils, so that it all works together. And you have some down to your mouth. The nerve goes down to your mouth. So the sensations that you feel in your body, in your face, whenever you are experiencing stress, this is the nerve. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
yes, definitely. And can the vagus nerve attribute to cardiac arrest?
If we're not careful, it can, along with the stress. So as we see here, the body is one. And I always tell clients, inform personnel, that it does not only affect your mind nor emotions, it's one big system. So as we saw in the first slide, cardiovascular health, yes, it is impacted also with this nerve and the impact of your emotions. I hope that answers your question.
Yes.
Yeah. And also something to keep in mind, our brain tells our body what to do. And our body aligns with what our mind is saying, what our mind is directing us to do. So in the fight, flight, and freeze, that cycle of stress in our brains, if it's something that we have to run from, then we will experience that increased heart rate because we are trying to escape. Our brains and our body is trying to find a way to get out of that danger zone. If we experience the freeze where we just completely stop, then you may feel in your body, your heart rate, it doesn't necessarily stop, but it feels like there's a pause, almost as if you're holding your breath. That too is a part of your mind. Your mind is telling your body what to do, and your body is reacting to whatever is going on around you. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that's pretty clear. Okay. So moving on, perfect. We go into the brain, and the stress hormones, of course, we've all heard of them. Adrenaline, high energy. We gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. And we have the cortisol, which is the stress hormone. Stress gives off that cortisol, which can be negative, and also that has a lot of impacts. One of it being with weight gain. That's the stress response and a hormone that can really impact the weight gain. Also, along the way, there's increased activity in certain areas of your brain where you experience stress. One of them being the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is where we have that front way of thinking. And processing our emotions increases our anxiety and fear. Yet again, it goes back to the cycle of stress. And it can, in fact, reduce or decrease the memory and recall of certain problems. In fact, it does. Whenever we experience stress, I'm sure at some point we have all experienced it, where we may have a slight bit of forgetfulness, where we don't really remember what happened in that moment, or we kind of lose track of the tasks that we have to do throughout the day, if that makes any sense. And this chronic brain activation, it can again impact and influence the physical and health problems that you may experience in your body. So a couple of self-care 911 techniques. One being with the crisis, which again is whenever there's a sense of imbalance within the homeostasis of your body and of your life. Once again, the fight, flight, and freeze response is the natural survival mechanism that prepares your body to respond to any perceived danger, any situation that we experience. Once again, with the flight, there may be an increased heart rate, maybe increased rapid breathing, sweating, and muscle tension, which is all a part of that system, that stress response. And some things that can help you through this is to provide a safe and calm environment. Okay, Zaina, what exactly does that mean and how do I do that, right? You center yourself around other things. Everything else around you becomes subject to that peace that you create, that environment that you create. Whenever there's pure intentions to find mindfulness, to be at ease with yourself, that's how you can provide a safe and calm environment. Depending on your family support system, they too can be a safe system and safe environment for you, where you find safety and protection, where you find comfort in these family members and friends. Going to the spa, going to get manicures, pedicures, going to just sit at Starbucks. Sometimes the coffee set is kind of refreshing, and being in this other environment can provide safety. And focus on your breathing. On the count of 3, I would like everybody just to take a minute to focus on their breathing, how you're breathing, the rate of your heart, and how it becomes in sync, or if it's not in sync right now, the effects. So again, on the count of 3, just for a couple of seconds, we're going to pay attention to that. All right. 1, 2, 3. And as you're doing this, I encourage you to pay attention again to your body to see if your breathing is in sync with your heart rate. And if not, it's okay. And if it is, that's okay as well. Good job. And listening without judgment in this crisis, it sounds so easy, way easier said than done. And to some, it may sound like a complete gibberish and cliche statement. Well, how do I do that? That's wrong. I don't believe in that. I don't agree with that. I don't have to listen to that, right? Which are some typical responses to situations that we totally disagree with, which is normal. But in doing that, there in fact is a difference between listening and hearing. We can hear, that's a natural sense that we were blessed with for those of us who are not deaf. But I want you to kind of think about Charlie Brown, right? Back in the days in the cartoon, all he heard was wah, 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 whenever his teacher was speaking, right? Charlie was not listening. So if there was a question that was to be asked, Charlie wouldn't know how to answer it. He wouldn't know how to respond because he was not able to listen, i.e. process, take in, accept, even weed out what's not applicable. He wasn't able to do that. So just kind of recall in situations where it stimulates this fight, flight, and freeze, are we really listening? Are we really processing what's being said? Or are we making judgment and assumptions based off of the things that are said? Are we hindering and prohibiting sound judgment and wisdom? Are we limiting ourselves to these own and very limiting responses and assumptions? What are we doing to ourselves? It also impacts the ability to be empathetic towards other people and considerate towards other people. We never know what's going on in someone else's mind. We never know all of the intricate details as to what's going on in their lives. So in doing this, it's important that we consider someone else's situation and listening without judgment. There's plenty of times when whenever we want to be listened to and not judged for anything, for feeling however you may feel, whatever the emotion is. If something has made you upset, sometimes we want to be listened to, a listening ear. We want to be heard. We want to feel validated. But listening is a part of the process where we are able to extend that empathetic hand and seek professional help. It is perfectly fine to need help. And I tell my clients, I remind myself, family, friends, whomever I can speak to, it's okay not to be okay. You're not one robot. You're not a robot. You're not able to process everything by yourself. Your brain does not have the mental capacity to withhold things. And we don't have time to do it just yet. But an exercise, if you hold your breath, we think about all of our problems. And every time you think about it, you hold your breath. So, as an example, think about work. Think about this presentation. Think about bills. Think about your pets. I can't go on any longer. I can't. My body was not created nor formed to hold my breath. Same thing with stress. Your body, your mind, emotions does not have the capacity to withhold that. So it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to seek professional help. So here we are with the most interactive part with some of the techniques. As I mentioned before, humming, ice extreme cold, tapping, deep breathing, holding, what we did before, hugging, physical touch, wall pushing, and cross crawling. And once again, these practices help individuals feel more grounded, calm, centered, regulated, resilient, and improves your overall well-being. These are also techniques to help along with mindfulness. And you are invited to participate with me in just a couple of brief demonstrations of the techniques, and participate as you feel comfortable, whatever makes you feel comfortable in doing that. And just watch to see if that's best for you right now. And just a disclaimer, what may work for one person may not work for another person. Deep breathing may or may not work for you. Hugging may or may not work for you. Humming may or may not work, and that's perfectly fine. And as we go along with the exercises, I encourage you to tune in to any noticeable changes in your body and in your mind. And as we go along, you can begin making this a regular practice in your life. And you can add it to one of your favorite self-care 911 techniques, so you're able to utilize them. And in the clinical arena, we call them coping skills. This is how we cope with our emotions, cope with our situations, cope with the cycle of stresses, fight, flight, and or freeze. So humming, once again, it goes back to the vagus nerve system that is controlling our breathing, that's controlling our heart rate. It stimulates vibration in your brain and in your body. It relieves a lot of tension in your jaw, your neck, and your throat. If you recall the example or the picture, that vagus nervous system went down towards the spine and it projected out. It came to your mouth, it came up towards your nostrils along with your eye. And this is why humming and the vagus nerve system can help release some of that tension. You can hum slow and steady tone that is synchronized with your breathing, and or you can hum a faster tune. Think about some music that you may enjoy listening to and what seems to be entertaining and or what seems to be centering. Some fast songs that you like, and you start jamming whenever you're humming. There's a sensation and there's a vibration to your brain. We are in a happy mood, right? And if you find yourself even in a dull mood where we just think of slower songs, some may be, for example, breakup songs or something that really touches that emotion, we also begin to feel that because of the sensation and the vibration that it sends to the body and to the brain. And this is something, that you can keep track of and you can continue for as long as you want to continue, whatever mood you want to place yourself in. And I really encourage all of my clients and you attendees to be mindful of what you're humming. Be mindful of what you're accepting, what you are then releasing. Be mindful along with the humming and the songs. Extreme cold. This sounds so weird. Who in the world wants to be in cold? It's already cold. North Carolina weather, it goes from warm to cold to neutral. Like, who wants to be here? But in fact, there are some benefits to it. The cold temperature can calm your mind. Whenever you think about it in cold temperatures, your brain is not focused on the stress. Your body is adapting to this new temperature, and it decreases anxiety levels. Yet again, we are not focused on the stress. We're not focused on the situation nor high emotions in response to it. We are more so adapting to that temperature. And applying ice and taking deep breaths. It's really, really cool and helpful whenever you do feel stressed that you take a cold compress, wrap it up ice or ice pack, wrap it up in something that is tolerable to your skin and place it over your eyes, right? A cold rag or a cold compress, press it over your eyes and begin to relax, begin to feel that sensation and the temperature shift in your body. For athletes, as an example, they partake in ice bath. That also releases and relieves tension in the body. It's very uncomfortable at first, but it's also very helpful. And as far as the physical appearance is concerned, yes, ice and cold temperatures help with wrinkles. It makes your face tighter, your skin tighter. Also, it helps with the glow of your skin, if that makes any sense. And you will need to do this gradually. I would not encourage anybody just to jump in with the idea of being a athlete that's accustomed to it. Definitely gradually build yourself up with this and listen to your body. Listen to your body. Tapping. That seems a little odd, and who wants to tap? But it also improves your emotional regulation, reduces a lot of physical symptoms associated with your stress, specifically with trauma, and do so during a rhythmic manner, whether it be your head, whenever you're doing that, mindfulness, your shoulders, your chest, your arms, whatever part of the body that you feel comfortable tapping. And here is one emotional freedom technique. It incorporates the tapping along with some other specific points of the body to relieve these negative emotions. Now, emotional freedom technique is not to be confused with emotional focus therapy, even though both of them are EFT and both of them are forms of clinical and evidence-based stress relievers. It's different. And by repeating these affirmations, yes, positive affirmations and positive I statements, when you are releasing and speaking positive things in the air, it reframes your mind. You are transformed by your mind. You are what you speak. You are what you believe. You are what you do. So by repeating these affirmations definitely will help. Mindfulness. Here we go. This is whenever you become accepted to your stress reduction, you become in sync and you make this purposeful, deliberate, and intentional decision to be centered. Breathing methods and guided imagery can help with mindfulness. So if it's picturing yourself at this blessed and comforting oasis where we hear the ocean sounds whenever we're in the spa, or wherever your happy place is, you imagine that in your mind and actually take yourself there. We see awareness in this cycle: awareness, present moment, acceptance, which is again a cycle of mindfulness. And what some people may not know is that this technique and medication can exacerbate symptoms of traumatic stress. A quote by Mr. David Trevelyan: when instructed to pay close attention to the inner world, people struggling with trauma can experience flashbacks, dysregulation, and dissociation, which is incredibly true. And for those who are unfamiliar with this word dissociation, that's when we totally block out, we set a barrier, and we no longer become that person. We escape from whatever that situation is. We escape from there. And mindfulness does, in fact, help with trauma. So be aware of it. And possibly the negative responses that you see with mindfulness, for people that may experience asthma, mindfulness with deep breathing, you have to be aware of that negative response in your body. Deep breathing slows down the heart rate and calms the body. So if we have just a little bit of time to practice this, please again be mindful of your body. If you do have asthma or breathing problems, please, please, please be careful. But on the count of three, I would like everybody to take a deep breath. And whenever we are taking these deep breaths, I want you to accept everything that's going on around you, accept the situations, accept the stressors and stress, accept it. And then as we exhale, we are going to release it. We are going to release it. Release whatever it is that you took in that was very stressful, chaotic, or indifferent. So again, on the count of three, we're going to take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Exhale out your mouth. Again. Great job. Great job. Also, one thing to notice whenever you are exercising deep breathing, notice how your body changes, right? So as you're inhaling, your body, your posture is straightening, and as you exhale, it kind of goes back down. Goes back down. Feel your lungs expand. Feel your heart rate change. Whenever you're deep breathing, we notice in mindfulness of how these things impact us. And one thing to also do, allow your exhale to be longer than your inhale. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Experience it through your body and experience releasing that. Again, your body is not equipped to hold all of the stress. Release it. It's okay. Head holding, yes. We do this often, whether we know it or not. Sometimes we can be stressed and we just hold our head, we touch your head, and it activates those pressure points that are associated with relaxation. So different parts of your brain. So it's okay, whenever you hold your head, you're actually utilizing a coping skill along with some other ones that we can go through. And be gentle, listen to your body. Head holding is different from damage and hitting your head. Those are completely different. So head holding can be helpful. Heart holding. So you hold your chest, essentially. Hugging yourself. We did it earlier whenever we were experiencing physical touching. Hugging yourself. Once again, it provides safety, protection, and calming. It can be soothing. Try to think of someone, that one special person or people that whenever you hug them, you just feel relief. You just feel relief. This is a simple and effective way of coping. Pushing against the wall, almost like push-ups, we release tension from the body. So pushing, you are extending. You're extending the stress, you're extending the worries, you're extending the pressure, whatever you push out. Much like deep breathing, like you're exhaling, we're letting it go, we're pushing it out. Yes, and promotes, yet again, the sense of grounding. It's simple and effective technique. It also helps with the physical body as you're stretching. However, make sure you listen to your body to avoid discomfort and or physical pain. Cross crawling promotes sense of balance and in the body. This one, you have to be careful getting on the floor to actually do it. It involves your knees and your elbows, and the midline of your body, your abdomen, your core. So just be careful. And again, with cross crawling, much like other 911 self-care techniques, our bodies, our minds have shifted gears to really focusing on being punctual with these coping skills and no longer distracted nor occupied by the stressors. Application of the techniques. Again, they're very simple. Make sure you practice regularly. That is important. Consistency matters, and it's impossible to become fully relieved and calm if we don't be consistent. We can't teach our bodies and train our bodies to do these things if we're not consistent. Seeking help therapy, again, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay. We are all trained professionals here to serve you. Be patient. It takes time. It takes time. It's not going to happen immediately. Situations, stressors did not solely start overnight, so we're not going to get over them overnight. So be gentle with yourself and make it a priority. You matter. Your life matters. You are worth this self-care. There's only one of you. There's only one of you. Situations are going to be there. Work is going to be there. Children, family, that's going to be there. However, you are not guaranteed to be there anymore. You matter. And developing a self-care plan, yes, it helps prioritize your well-being. It also sets in a sense of organization for you. Identify some personal stressors, assess current self-care practices and or lack thereof, set goals. What do you want to do? What's the whole intention and purpose of this plan? And create a routine. Yet again, it goes back to consistency. Consider your outside support. Be mindful everybody may or may not support you. So be very strategic in who you allow into the self-care plan. Evaluate and adjust. At times you may have to pivot. It's okay. And in conclusion, we want to prioritize self-care, develop a personal self-care plan, and not recognize that one fits all. Again, pushing may not be as effective to you. It might feel like too much exercise. Deep breathing may not work if you're noticing that your breathing is feeling a little funky, it feels off, or if you have asthma, if you feel hugging and touching, that feels weird, like, oh, that feels weird, I'm not used to that. It's okay, one does not fit all. Find the one that fits you. And recall that it plays a practical role in building your resilience, building your physical health, living fulfilling lives, supporting others, being empathetic, and being the best you that you can be. You're a rock star, you totally rock, and you are totally worth the self-care. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Aspire Integrative Wellness. The email is provided, phone number and website is provided. Aspire has professionals, trained professionals clinically, and those that are in nutrition, they specialize in nutrition, all ready to help relieve the pain, help you cope with the pain, and really fulfill this inspiring need for yourselves.
Zana,
Yes.
we did have some good questions. What does the cross crawl actually look like? Are there any pictures or samples? And then also when we're cradling the head, where are those pressure points you were speaking of?
Yeah, thank you. Really, really, really good questions. We do not have a picture of it. However, if you utilize your imagination or any other movies that you may have watched, cross crawling is almost like the army crawl. It's almost like that, where you were getting through something. And as far as pressure points on your mind, well, you go here, frontal lobes, temporal. These are the areas that we are pushing against gently, not in any harmful way. And really, if you think about it, whomever asked the question or anyone else who decides to do so, put your head on your desk. This is where we're going. It's very common, it's very normal, but where you place your hands at, these are the pressure points that we're feeling. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, that is great.
Yes, and if you choose to, by all means, look on YouTube, Google it to see how it will best fit you. how to best fit you. Exercise, I also tell clients that's a really, really big coping skill that I recommend. We are releasing cortisol, we are releasing sweat, even down to your pores. You get a chance to see it really coming out. You get a chance to see it coming out. Whether it's HIIT exercise, Tabata, if it's just walking, if it's just stressing, or walking, you are releasing that stress. Another one I recommend is taking a shower and soaking. It sounds a little different, but in taking a shower, being mindful, you get a chance to see all of the stress, all of the hormones, things that was clogging your pores. You get to watch it go down the drain. You get to watch it go down the drain. And whatever is going down that stress, all down that drain, that stress is also leaving you. So once it's down the drain, it's gone. You can't soak in it anymore. You're standing up and you're releasing it. Same thing with stress. It's gone. You don't have to hold it. You're not sitting in it. We're not mellowing in it. No, we are washing and feeling refreshed. And soaking, if you so choose to do that with Epsom salt, you are relaxing your muscles. There's less tension in the body. Were there any more questions, Ms. Carol?
Just a broad, if you feel stress at work and one person said if it's through work, how do you manage upward for that?
How do you manage stress for work?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
At work, if it's coming from above.
Management sounds like.
Yes.
So you utilize these same techniques. I encourage utilizing positive affirmations. And what is a positive affirmation? And also, what is a positive I statement? I am in control. The situation work is not in control of me. Whenever you recognize that you have solely control over yourself and not management, not co-workers, not the work or the task that you become engulfed with, you begin to gain control over yourself. Deep breathing again, whenever you get a chance to do that, if you feel stress coming along, take it all in and release it. Understand that you, darling, you are worth that self-care. It's not worth losing sleep. It's not worth getting stressed out. It's not worth getting sick. For whatever reason, whomever it is, you take control of yourself and you take care of yourself. It's okay. Was that all?
I'm trying to decide which ones. Okay. That's EAP.
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen really quick so you guys are able to see. Okay, here we go.
If someone doesn't feel like they are always in control of their emotions, and could maybe feel angry or scared, how do they start feeling and transitioning into owning their own emotions?
Owning your own emotions. One, consistency. The more you practice these coping skills, the more grounded you will feel, the more regulated you will feel. It goes back to I statements and positive affirmations. You are what you think. You are what you believe. You are exactly what you feel. So change the dynamic. And once you have made it a priority in your life, and once you have come to the conclusion that I am better than this situation is not going to conquer me, work is not going to conquer me, once we make that decision, you'll begin to feel that control. Also, if need be, I encourage everybody to seek professional help so you have support along with this control. By doing that, again, we are trained professionals to help you.
Great, thank you. And I just want to thank everyone for coming today and reiterate what Xana's presentation is all about, is to try to incorporate some of these good habits to manage your stress and manage your own emotions. But when it gets to a point where you can't do that, reach out to some of these wonderful resources available to state employees. Aspire shared their contact information. We also have our EAP program that you can reach out to. So there are so many resources out there and available. So if you want something to help with your particular situation, then those are great resources for you. And Xana, thank you so much for today. This was wonderful.
It was a pleasure being able to share with you guys and present on such an impactful topic. And before we wrap up, I want to say that I am proud of everybody who came. You made the sacrifice, you got what you need, you got some new tools and resources. I am so proud of you. You did it. You took one step towards healing and one step towards self-control. I'm so proud of you. You guys did it.
Truly, this is one good step, caring about yourself to attend. All right, thank you so much. Everyone have a good rest of the day.
Bye, guys.